So, can a deaf person get a speeding ticket? I'm going to tell you the story. It absolutely happened to me back in the summer of '95. I was with a group of my friends. We'd gotten in the car. We were going to head on vacation, driving down the road, just kind of staying with the other cars. And the speed limit sign that I saw said 65, so we were just maintaining with the other traffic. All of a sudden, a cop comes out of nowhere, comes behind me and pulls me over. And I wasn't sure what was up, but the cop said to me, "You realize you were doing 75? And he said that I clocked you in it was a 55 mile an hour zone. So he's going to have to give me a ticket. He put down 65 that I was traveling, so I really appreciated that. He gave me a break. So I put it in the console next to my chair and just continued on my way, enjoyed my vacation, and it was time for me to go to court. So I talked with my friends, we discussed the idea and thought, you know, you can give testimony and you can say whether you're innocent or guilty. So I decided I would go ahead and challenge that. I wasn't weaving in and out of traffic, I was just maintaining a safe speed with the rest of the traffic. So I went ahead and arrived at court and I proclaimed my innocence. So if you challenge the court, you have to go and schedule a time to do that. So I had to come back another time, made sure I have an interpreter. That worked out. And the interpreter was there in court. There was a list of who was going to appear before the judge when I was third, and I assumed that the whole process would be fairly quick. So the judge comes in, and his face seemed very friendly. He seemed, you know, polite, nice guy. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, I got a chance. I got a chance. This is going to work out. I'm going to be able to convince him that I'm innocent and get out of here. So the first case was a woman. She went up to the front, and the police officer, the sheriff, so there was a jury there, but instead of citizens, there was a whole line of police officers lined up where the jury would have normally been. And she went up and said that she was challenging the case. It was a very interesting process. She had been charged with not having her seatbelt on and had gotten a ticket for that. The woman went off explaining, no, that's not what happened. So the judge interrupted and said to her, I don't need your opinion. I need to ask you directly a question. He asked the officer, did you see the woman with her seatbelt on? And the officer said, she didn't have it on. And so the judge said, all right, that's my decision. She's fine. The officer had to be sworn in, of course, that he would tell the truth. Wow, it really struck me. Boy, that seemed to go quickly. And the second case was fascinating. It was a Mexican individual who went with a spoken translator, and the police came, a different officer came down from the bench and went up, and the charge on this individual was driving a truck, but it was dangerously loaded. There was too much stuff on the back of it. So the officer had pulled him over. They'd had a discussion, and they did have some problems communicating. But the officer went ahead and gave him a ticket because his truck was overloaded. And he said to him, did you realize that having your truck overloaded that way is not safe? And then the Mexican individual who was protesting as innocent said, oh, I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the communication. And the judge said, then why did you sign it? And the man answered and said, it was written in Spanish. I just signed what I saw in Spanish. Well, the whole courtroom erupted in laughter. My interpreter was interpreting everything for me. Of course, I was delayed in my reaction because I'd had to travel through my interpreter, and then I laughed out loud and had to, kind of say sorry about that. It was an outburst in court. So the interpreter, they had a translator there, of course, to make sure everything was clear, and explained that the Mexican person said, I didn't understand because it was written in English, but now that with the translator here, I do understand clearly. And the judge made the decision to go ahead and fine him. Now that you understand, you're fined. Well, I was third. And I was thinking my excuse was going to be, I was just keeping up with the flow of traffic, and I realized that wasn't going to fly. So I was prepared. I went up to the judge and said, I was late. I'm trying to think of an excuse, so I went to decide with the interpreter, and we'd gone outside, and we said, you need to do this in front of the, you want him to, and then they called my case, and I realized my case had been waived. And I thought, I was confused. I wasn't sure what happened. So I went outside, spoke with my interpreter, and finally it became clear to me the police in my case had never shown up. And for that reason, my case was dismissed.